Spring is here, and it's been a weird one. This winter felt like spring for most of winter. And then when we're actually getting ready for spring to show up, winter finally has arrived. So this year we spent a lot of time observing and assessing and waiting for plants to tell us what they needed and wanted. And now we're finishing up the last bits of pruning and getting ready to really welcome spring in. Spring is such a fun time, but it can also be kind of anxiety inducing for some people. The projects and the things and the wants and all the things that we think we need to get done and have to get done. But there's something about the season that just kind of brings the gardening community together. People are sharing plants and they're talking about what's coming up in their gardens and they're swapping ideas. And it's this time of year where the love of plants just kind of spills over into connection with other people.
Welcome to the Relish Gardens podcast, where we have conversations about the intersection between the garden and your life and how all of those things are intertwined. How to care for your space, how to prune, basically everything that's related to the design, development, and keeping of a garden. I'm Claire Liddell Hanna, the founder and lead designer at Relish Gardens, where we build, design, and maintain beautiful gardens. Let's dig in. Today, Stevie's back on the podcast to talk about what we're focusing on in our clients' gardens.
Let's talk about the weather. What do you think about this weather?
I'm over it.
Okay, one of my clients asked me the other day, he goes, do you guys pay attention to that stuff? And at first I was like, what? And I was like, oh, he's joking.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, dude, it's like what we look at before we go to bed and what we wake up looking at in the morning. And the other day we woke up to snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we are done with that little blip that we had of the snow. The plants will come back, but it's caused some damage. It's caused damage in our gardens. This week we're responding to that. Yeah, this week and next week we'll be responding to a lot of that damage. And some of that damage is going to be an ongoing restoration effort. Mm-hmm. I just saw one of our properties lost a big lilac that was like, the buds were starting to swell. I'm like so bummed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I know, it's such a bummer. But again, gardens aren't static. They're always moving, they're always changing. So it's looking at it as a thing to think about how we can enhance the space now that we have this opening that we weren't intending to have.
We held off on winter pruning purposefully because we were waiting for a frost. We were waiting for the weather to tell us that it was time to do winter pruning.
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to do a lot of winter pruning all at once.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it's a lot. I love pruning.
Yeah, I think everybody in our team loves pruning.
It's a lot of pruning, but it is very fun.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of finishing that up and getting ready to tend to the gardens as spring emerges.
There's different microclimates all around the Seattle region that we work in. And so we kind of wait for the plants to tell us a little bit too. Sometimes, we have to get it done because we won't be there for like another month. But most of our clients we see more regularly than that.
If there's any restorative pruning, we
will be this week.
Yeah. We will be because of our weird snow.
Our mini snowgeddon. But it wouldn't have been as bad except for the fact that it was after we had all this really warm,
Everything started like budding
winter.
out.
Yeah.
When I think of going to a client's yard and doing the fine gardening, I'm thinking about plants. I'm thinking about what the vision for that plant is going to look like when it blooms, when it loses its leaves and the structure that it leaves in the winter time, in the fall. And so fine gardening to me means that you are creating a sculpture in the garden of a sort. So making sure that all of your color is, in a spot where it makes sense.
Oh.
Making sure that your tree, you're not just pruning leaders out of the tree just for the sake of pruning your tree, that you're pruning to enhance its natural beauty.
And also, I think it's also pruning it for its health too. It's like kind of this like commingling of sorts, right? Of like beauty and health. Because if you don't kind of like walk through and inspect your space, you get breaks on the trees. And then over time, what you'll have is 2 leaders on a tree, and that diverts the energy into the tree into these different spaces. It makes it more subject to breakage later. And so what we're doing is we're looking for both how to enhance the beauty, but also how to prevent harm later on.
Mm-hmm.
So branches like rubbing together and things like that. We're also looking for all of that too. It's very intertwined
Yes,
work, I think.
You're in the gray area.
Yeah, between artistry and horticulture.
And maintenance and fine gardening.
Yeah, yeah. So much of the work that we do is just like observation and paying attention to what's happening. And then there's response as needed. I think we say all the time is we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching. We're doing a walkthrough and we're watching. But it's that like, it's that it doesn't take long. It's like, 5-10 minutes, you do a walkthrough, you can observe, you know what to look for because you know that property. It's like, okay, on this property, these are beautiful. They're important to the space. They add so much to it, but we have to like pay attention. And so we'll do a walkthrough and like pay attention and then we know, okay, now we need to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On another podcast that I was listening to, they use the word attending to instead of maintenance. And it's like you're attending to the needs of the plants and the space. And I was like, oh, tending or attending to, it's like the idea of maintenance, sometimes it can have a negative connotation. I think we think of it as this like ongoing work. But I think it's like the idea of like tending to, you're meeting the needs of the space where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Or elevating the space to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you meet a garden where it's at and you want it to be something different.
We get those calls. We're getting a lot of those calls right now.
You tend to the garden and meet it where it's at. And then that's when you can
Look at the future.
Look at the future and plan for the time and do your plantings and move more into fine gardening application.
Yeah. There's always this rush this time of year of people calling and being like, help, I put this garden in. It doesn't look the way it was supposed to or the way I thought it was. And it's usually because there hasn't been an attending to. It's like, I think in America we think of gardens often as static. I think gardeners understand that it's not static, but I think culturally we think of them as like, oh, I'll do that one time and then it's kind of done. But it's just, it's ever changing. It's ever developing. It's ever moving.
It's not considered as much of part of a person's lifestyle as it might be in other parts of the world.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
When you're selling your house, they say that having a beautiful yard or a beautiful garden, it helps to enhance, the sell value of your house. And so some people just put a garden in because they know that they're going to be selling their house at some point.
Yeah, those are always the fun gardens. The ones that come with it, because it's always the stuff that's gotten planted too close to the house or it's been for the sale of the property, but not necessarily for the longevity of the property.
That's where we do restorative pruning. So something that you're doing this time of year is you're planting your summer bulbs.
There you go.
When we first installed a client's bulbs in the summertime, there was a bunch of deer and bunnies and all kinds of animals that came through and they just munched on everything.
Ravaged.
And so what we did when we planted the bulbs is we used chicken wire?
Yeah.
So we just made little bowls out of chicken wire and we put the bulbs inside. And then we covered it with another piece, or we just folded it in half. So it was covered into like a ball that was full of bulbs. And then we planted this bulb ball into the soil. And they came up and it pushed all of the chicken wire up too. So we knew where to take it out also. But
some of them,
they worked really well. They didn't get ravaged by like the bunnies or squirrels or anything.
Yeah, it can be a good way to keep them from getting eaten.
It's hard because, you can't control...
You can't control all of nature.
Yeah, you can't control nature. So being able to do what you can to try to get the outcome that you're looking for.
Or choose something else.
Yeah.
But if you have your heart set, like
Yes.
we have a client, she had her heart set on those bulbs. And she said, I'm the only one in the neighborhood who has them right now. And it's because we went through and
put a bunch of chicken wire on them
underneath the soil so that they would be protected from everything. So, but they're coming up and she's loving them and she gets a lot of joy from it. Maybe not at every property, but we're always doing some sort of division this time of year and just kind of keeping an eye out, because sometimes the plants they do their own forms of reproducing. And sometimes those need to be edited.
Yeah. Anything that is just like really voracious spreader
Yeah.
is something that you're going to be tending to every year.
Yeah. We did a whole episode on plant propagation and divisions earlier. So if you're not sure where to start, go back to episode 6 and you can hear us talk all about propagation, development, and divisions. What would be an example of something that you feel like you always have to be paying attention to?
Euphorbia. If you have euphorbia, it self-seeds itself. I think it's really pretty. I do love the form of euphorbia. I love the texture of it. I would never plant it in my own garden.
We went to the NHS symposium that they do. It was the 60th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
And it was so fun, but it was funny because one of the people that they brought in, she's a gardener from Chanticleer, and she was talking about how much she loved euphorbias.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, I know. She's like, okay, listen, I know it's not great here.
Yeah, I think they're so pretty.
I think some euphorbias are better than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are. They're beautiful. They have such an interesting structure and development. And that like chartreuse green on some of the flower heads are beautiful. But yeah, they can take over a space in no time flat.
Another voracious one is wisteria.
Oh, yeah.
Like we have a property that has 2 wisterias, and every single visit we're there every other week during the growing season, we're doing wisteria maintenance. So not only just like pruning it so that it stays where it's supposed to be on its structure, it's on an arbor or a pergola. And so like making sure that it's not getting into the roof, into the shingles and the gutters and vents and whatever on the house, but also it sends out shoots and it travels along the ground and it wants to just keep spreading.
Oh,
and
my
so
gosh,
we're
yeah.
just like always maintaining. Always. If there's a wisteria on someone's garden, we're always every visit attending to it.
I mean, the site where this is planted is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And also because it's tended to, it's even that much more beautiful because it is like what we think of when we think of wisteria. It's like in this one space, it's got all those purple blooms. It's like dropping down as you walk through this pathway. It's like
just dripping.
It's idyllic,
Yeah.
right? But man, if that got let go for just like a hot second,
Mm-hmm.
it would just all be wisteria.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth it if you have the space and time to do it. But man, those are a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. I like them too. We've got them in a few of our properties.
I had planted a wisteria early on in a place I shouldn't have planted it. And then I was like, what have I done? I was still to this day, I don't know, it was probably like 15 years ago, planted this darn wisteria and it should not have been planted there. And I still have to look for those little sprouts. It just won't go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You need to know that wherever you plant a wisteria, it will
always be there.
It will always be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenging plant to get rid of. Beautiful. I don't have them at the house.
No, I've never. I know I don't have the time to maintain that on my own property, so I'll get paid to do it on someone else's instead.
We don't do tons and tons of annuals.
They're mostly in pots.
Yeah. So we're doing pot changeovers right now. Some of our pots have been planted out in the fall with our bulbs and pansies and different things like that. But the ones that haven't, we'll be doing changeovers for the spring. This is a great time to do that. If you're looking at trialing a plant or you want to buy like a specimen plant, we always talk about that. It's a great thing to go in your pot and then keep it there for a season.
Let it grow out a little bit.
It costs a little bit less. You can pay attention to it, give it what it needs. Yeah. And then experience it while it's small. And then as it gets bigger, you can put it out into the landscape.
Yeah, using your pots as a nursery.
You love that.
I do.
It's like your favorite thing.
I really do. I think it's very economical.
Yeah.
Like way of gardening.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And I love telling people when I tell clients like, oh yeah, and we could like put this in a pot and it'll be like your little nursery. And then later on we can put it in your garden and then put something new in your pot and you have the same pot for a couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's a great idea
Yeah.
because you get to, like you said, have it small and then you have your own nursery and you can take care of it. And then it goes and it flies the nest, right? And it goes into the ground, into your garden, and then you get to have a new baby plant and take care of that one. And you do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's cheaper. You can buy smaller specimens.
I think it's a great way to go with specimen plants because they can be really expensive when they're really big. And so if it's a great way to like get to know the plant. Often your pots are closer to your doors or different things like that. I think the only thing is like keeping up on watering and making sure that you're paying attention to that stuff that can be an issue. But yeah, I do. I love that too.
This winter, I redid some of my pots outside my front door. I only have a couple of them and they're kind of dinky, but I got a little tiny, like 4-inch pot Goshikias.
Oh, you did?
I did. And I'm like, I know it's going to grow and I'm not going to be able to keep it in my own yard eventually. Like, I don't have a yard.
Yeah.
But I really wanted it for my pot. And so I'm like, I'll just give it to somebody in a few years when it's too big. So it's like I'm nursing it so that it can go to somebody else who will be able to use it in their space.
It's your own like mini, it's like your mini landscape.
Yeah, I love pots.
Yeah.
I think they're fun. They're a nice economic, and it's a really good introductory into gardening if you're nervous or if you don't know like what to do. And it seems like there's so many rules for gardening and I'm kind of overwhelmed. Just get a couple pots.
Start small.
Yeah, start something small. You don't have to start big. You don't have to do it all at once. You can buy a Goshiki osmanthus and put it in your pot and then get rid of it in a couple of years.
Gift it.
Yeah.
Take it to that plant sale.
Yeah.
Train it out for a different one.
I'll just bring it here.
Oh, there you go.
Just bring it to Claire's house.
I'm at the place where I'm like, oh my gosh, no more plants. I'm in the editing phase.
Yes.
We're getting ready to do some new gardens here at my home after some construction. I love a good septic project. This is the time of the year to get out and like see other gardeners. It's like go to the sales, you don't like, even if you're not going to buy anything, but just like go and be with your people and like go to the seed swaps, go.
Winter hibernation is over.
Yeah, go participate. Like, be part of that community. It's like we started it with the garden show. I love the flower and garden show because it's like you get to see everybody, you get all this like inspiration. But it was great to go to the NHS symposium and just like listen to these kind of greats. You know, I mean, Dan Hinckley talked and Richie Stevens talked, and like it was a whole day. These people who work in the field that are kind of legend here. It was so funny though because you could tell everybody it was a bunch of gardeners because it was like a whole day, and I was like, "Okay, we need a stretch break, everyone." Jeff like could not stay in his seat the whole time. Yeah. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like you want me to sit for an entire day, like a whole one?" Everybody was so restless. You could see who works in gardening in that like physical field of gardening and who works in the thinking field of gardening, and it is wildly different. And it was like really just how they were wiggling in their seats.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Dan Hinckley's just like out there selling his plants. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. He's just like, I'm just a guy selling my plants, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like our entire ecosystem of plants can be attributed back to the Kevin Bacon game, but it's like with Dan Hinckley, and like it all goes back. He gave a whole talk about how the gardens in his property have changed over the last couple of years because of just weather patterns and whatnot. And so he's like going through all of the issues he's had with his garden. And I'm like, oh man, okay, well, Dan Hinckley's having issues with his garden. I felt a lot better about my septic problem.
We try to go to the Lake Washington Tech. I've been able to go, I think, most years since we graduated. That's where I bought all my salvias.
It supports the school and the work that they're doing. And then it's like great to see other people that are in the space. But I think the thing I love is like seeing everybody buying all the stuff that they're going to take home and put in their gardens. It just like, it makes them happy.
Yeah, I like seeing people happy. It's a beautiful community building experience, I think.
Yeah.
There's garden tours that you can buy tickets to be on. And
Yes, to go to,
the tickets are usually fundraisers for whatever
garden organization. Yeah.
whoever's putting it on. So you're funding whatever things that they're wanting to do.
Well,
and you get to see the gardens and get inspiration and be with other people that love to see gardens.
I think the thing that's so cool about garden tours is they're usually like hyper local, right? You're seeing a garden that is in the community that either you live in or the one that you're going to, but you don't usually get to see what's growing in the backyard of your neighbor's garden. And so it's only the stuff that really grows well out in the front yard. But usually people keep their pretty stuff in the backyard because it requires a little bit more hands-on, and people do that work usually in the backyard. And so I think going to a garden tour, if you've never been on one, this is your year, because garden tours, I mean, I just love the creativity that people bring to their own spaces. And you talk to people in line as they're waiting to go in. It's a community building effort, and it supports gardening in your neighborhood.
People love talking about their gardens.
They do.
And so when you get to go to somebody's personal garden and they get to tell you the history of their garden, sometimes there's so much history in there. There's like decades of them cultivating this garden. And my kids used to play on this tree and then it fell down. So we had to, we made it into a table or something so that we can still continue to use that piece of our personal history in the garden. It's very inspiring. That kind of stuff, it like makes me want to cry because it's like, it does. Like I've become more sensitive in my 30s.
In your old age. In my older age.
Today is the oldest I've ever been.
It is. And now you're even older.
I know. What the heck? But like as I get older, I find things to be much more sentimental and it touches me. And I like hearing that about other people's gardens. Like
I just like seeing people light up,
Yeah.
It's lovely. There's usually histories to these gardens, and it's not necessarily the history of the space, but it's often like the history of the people that they've brought to that space. It's like, oh, my grandma gave me this. She brought this over from this part, and it's interesting to see how plants and gardens can be keepsakes, and they're that inherited love that people bring with them. And I think that like personal gardens, people's actual physical gardens, the way they live, it often reflects that, My grandma used to make this, so now I plant this, or this reminds me of this person. You don't really get to see those things very often.
No.
And those backyards are really where those things happen.
It's a privilege to be able to be invited into a space like that.
Yeah, not everybody opens them up. And, I'm always like, wow, that's amazing. And to have like hundreds of strangers come through your yard is, I don't know. I think it's such a gift to the wider community to like open that up and to create space for that.
Well, you're always saying that gardens are intensely personal.
Personal, yeah. I feel like they are. They're like, there's like deep connection with the space that you work with your hands. It's this entrenched space that you build this relationship with. And a lot of gardeners want to open that up to other people. They want for people to enjoy it. And so, I don't know. I like to go on as many of them as I can during the year. And I've done it for years. So this is my plug. Find a garden tour in your neighborhood or close to your neighborhood, or even not in your neighborhood, and go see the gardens and, take a friend and go through the gardens and
make a day of it.
And thank the people who have opened up their gardens, because it can be an endeavor, but I think it's really special. And it's a great way to take this kind of isolating act where you're working in your garden personally and open it up to this connection that we all have of love of plants. Put them on your calendar now because they sell out. My favorite spring ritual. I haven't done this for a long time, but I keep thinking about it. But I used to do this with my kids. I used to make little Mayday baskets.
Mayday baskets?
Yeah, Mayday baskets. We would make them out of chicken wire when they were little. And then you like stuff moss into them. And then you stuff little plants in them. And then you go and you hang them on your neighbor's doors.
That's really nice.
I haven't done it in forever, but I was like, I kind of want to do that this year.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Right?
Yes. I love that.
It was like a really great entry point into connecting with your neighbors. And it's something that we don't often do as much anymore. Like, who doesn't love getting like flowers or something pretty? I mean, I don't know.
When I first moved into my house, there were so many hydrangeas
Yeah.
that we were pruning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could not bring myself to throw them in the compost bin because they were so pretty.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I just took them home with me.
Yeah.
And then I made little bouquets of hydrangea flowers and I put them on each of my neighbors' doorsteps. And I did it every couple weeks during the season that we were pruning them. And at one point, somebody goes, who is leaving all of these flowers at our doorsteps? Why are you doing that? I was like, oh, it was me. I was just being nice. I think some people were just confused.
Who is this person?
I know.
And what do they want from us?
Why are they leaving flowers all the time? It's weird.
Okay, here's the deal. Most of our clients' gardens, unless they're newer gardens, they are like ready to go. They are ready for the plants to be brought in. Our clients want to plant. Like they're ready to like plant out their vegetable beds. Their pruning is done. If they wanted to mulch, it's mulched. So, like things are ready. My home garden, oh my gosh, my personal garden, I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't get done last year. Okay, that didn't also get done last year. Also, I have this big giant project coming up. And so it can sometimes be overwhelming when you're walking through a garden. And so if your garden isn't fully ready or maintained, I just hear Cisco Morris's voice in my head on a regular basis is just like start in a corner, just start somewhere, just get out there, participate in the act of being in your space. And just that act of getting into it a little bit helps. That's what I did yesterday. We were just in the garden all day yesterday. And it's just that little bit of act of getting out there and being in it and participating with it. It kind of like quells some of that. It's okay. Some anxieties that people can be feeling this time of year.
I mean, you're feeling it.
I am feeling it in my home garden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My home garden is not necessarily where I would like it to be right now.
I think probably a lot of people are in holding patterns as well.
Yeah.
And some people with home gardens might have construction projects that they're looking forward to and other things that are taking priority over being able to just be in their garden.
Yeah.
There has to be space for that. You know, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, there's different seasons in a garden. There's definitely been times of the year where I've been able to walk out into my spring garden and go get some eggs from the chicken coop. And, you know, I'm just like, I'm going to make a whole spring meal out of this garden that's just like beautifully popping up. And then, my yard's been torn apart from construction. And so it's not functioning in this way where I'm just able to just walk out and enjoy it yet this year. I have a lot of projects slated. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of years of it really coming together.
Something that you have been talking about is how right now you cannot really do much in your garden before the construction begins.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you have a plan. You have developed a plan so that once construction is done, you can start moving forward with the things that you desire in your garden.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's something, if you, the listener, are in a holding area in your own space where you're not really sure like what to do because you're waiting for construction or you're waiting for this or you're waiting for that and you can't really do the garden as you want to do it currently, make a plan. Put all of your ideas on paper so it's not just living in your head. Yeah. That way you can free up some space in your mind and you're not feeling as anxious or as overwhelmed or whatever you're feeling. Put it on paper.
I think that's really good. I do that. Definitely. I'm like, okay, I just need to get this out of my head and get my iPad out and draw it all out and get it all ready. I know where I'm going. And so I think that can be really helpful. Or knowing a pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plan to do a couple pots.
Plant some Mayday baskets.
Do some Mayday baskets. Give them to your neighbors and your family. And your friends.
If you want more help knowing what to do in your spring garden, we have a free guide. It's in the show notes. Check it out.
That's it for today's episode of the Relish Gardens podcast. If you love this conversation, make sure to subscribe. We've got new episodes every week. And if you know a gardening friend who'd love this, send it their way. Sharing the show helps grow our little garden-loving community. Until next time, I hope you find something in your garden to truly relish.